затухла музычка. Только не надо. Не хотелось бы, чтобы не вожди была запись. Или это вожди, чтобы их
Hello, everybody. I hope we are live and you can hear us. Welcome to the 0.63 developer live stream. Today, for the first time, we are going to be showing our 0.63 build live. So it's not going to be some stage demo or whatever. We are actually live, right, Peter?
Exactly.
Before we jump into the game, please write into the chat if you have any issues with the audio that we have, if anything is wrong with the video. We got a couple of guys taking care of our chat here, so they will hopefully transfer that information to us. As it is obvious already, I am joined here with our DayZ lead designer, Peter Nespeshny. Peter, hi.
Hi, folks.
On the gaming station right behind us is our awesome community manager, Buddy Alkwen. Buddy, hi. And we're not actually going to be here all the time. In the middle of the live stream, we're gonna change for our lead animator, Victor, who's sitting somewhere right over there behind the camera. And we are also going to invite Adam, our technical animator, and we are also going to invite Eugene at the very end of the live stream, and we are going to answer some of your questions from the chat, hopefully. I think we are all ready to start actually playing the game, so let's jump into it. And Peter, 0.63. What is the biggest change compared to 0.63? 0.62 that you will notice immediately in the game.
It's basically a new game.
Yeah.
Really. You can witness a new character controller, which is much more fluid.
Yeah.
New actions, stamina,
Yeah.
all that stuff, or the weapon system. Like everything feels really fresh and new compared to the 62 version. So.
I think everybody from the start will notice, because the best thing to do when you actually start playing DayZ, you spawn on the coast. If there's no loot around you, you probably just want to run inlands and you know, find some goodies, find some loot. So and obviously for that, the big change in the game right now is that before in 0.62 in legacy versions we had basically unlimited sprinting, and now we have a stamina system.
Exactly. Yeah, to be fair, I would like to say the normal speed, which is meant for traversing, is jog, like when you just spray the double V. And sprint is meant to be for fleeing from some situation, from like attacks from zombies, players, and stuff like that.
Right now we're playing on a completely friendly server. So there's literally only 3 developers running in the game, so there's basically no danger. For reasons that we will explain later, we also don't have the zombies included in the game. You will notice that. But so yeah, right now there's no immediate danger. But you can see in the bottom in the bottom left corner, there's a stamina indicator.
There is stamina in the left corner, left bottom corner, and you can see the stamina bar is, or the amount of the stamina is quite short. As I mentioned, it's meant mainly for the fleeing from the danger, and it depends on your actual weight on the load on your character. So the more stuff you are carry, the stamina bar is cut off. So you need to count with it. If you want to have the maximum stamina available, you should be literally naked.
All right. That'll make some interesting gameplay situations, I can imagine.
Yeah, so
my glasses are wrong, damn it.
So some types of players like hoarders, how to say that, will have stamina bar quite limited.
You'll now have to actually think about the loot that you really carry, because it's going to matter a lot more.
Exactly, yes. What I want to emphasize on is like we have a huge map, but that doesn't mean you should be able to traverse it completely in a few minutes.
Right.
Like what we want, the intention is to have some preparedness in the settlements, in the villages, in the towns between the trips. So instead of just running straight to the northwest airfield.
Yeah, completely to the other side of the map. You need to plan your advance a little bit more, find the proper loot, ideally find a vehicle. Obviously in 0.63 experimental, and that is an important point to say, when we are going to release the first experimental update of 0.63, we will still not have vehicles. So, but when vehicles are in play, this will also probably change the system very much.
Like vehicles in the future should be really easy to find. Like there should be like plenty of vehicles. but even if they are easy to find, they are hard to fix.
Yeah.
So plenty of parts to gather from the vehicles you find
Right.
around, to put in the one vehicle you want to be operatable, and go to the adventures you want.
Right.
Also, there is like I notice like people are a little bit afraid of the stamina system,
Yeah.
and it's like it will take like twice the time to get to the spot and stuff like that. I would say, like currently the jog, the normal speed you have in game, it's around 15 kilometers per hour,
Yeah.
which is quite fast, and the sprint is around 24 kilometers per hour.
Okay.
So even if you want to travel something like around 10 kilometers distance, let's say from Electro to the Northwest Airfield, it's around 10 kilometers by airlane, or
Right.
how it's called in English. The difference with the current stamina system is around like 8 to 10 minutes.
Right.
So it's not so much actually. So again, like we would like to see people to go and loot settlements they visit on the road,
Right.
to the point they want to visit.
Okay. So the next big change after stamina, but maybe like before I go like more deeper into.
О, отлично. Давай грузись. О, 7
To do explain like what's new in 0.63. Let's just say few differences between what is 0.63 experimental, what is 0.63 stable, and what is the final release. Because I think many people don't actually know it, that we will release experimental, then we're gonna iterate there, we're gonna reach stable, that's when DayZ enters beta. We're gonna do some balancing and other tweaking in that beta phase, and then we go straight to 1.0, the release of DayZ, correct?
Yes,
Right.
like that.
So like what should people expect from the first 0. Experimental release, 0.63 experimental, and what's going to be happening during development, like very briefly?
Well, to be clear, like the very first release of experimental
Right.
will be kinda truncated of features.
Yeah.
People knows from the 62. But we are really focusing on the core stuff, like character movement, behavior, gunplay,
Right.
melee, and there will be some basic survival.
Так, ну это точно не мой интернет. Это может Twitch. Блин, с интернетом у меня все отлично. 100 мегабит канал.
Elements in
Peter,
game.
sorry to interrupt you, but the chat obviously wants to see first
Просто
person.
не
Can we
тянет,
switch?
наверное.
Right,
Извини.
let's do this.
Загрузка.
Okay.
So, let's go ahead.
Like really few survival elements will be in the first experimental, like hunting, fireplaces, cooking meat, and stuff like that. More stuff will come, of course,
Yeah.
because DayZ is really huge or wide
Yes.
in scope.
Many features.
Exactly.
Small, bigger
So
ones.
I want to say that we are not cutting down the features,
Right.
even if they are they are not in the
Страшно ты, правда,
first
много, а?
experimental release.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
don't be afraid.
Что ли, всего до
All
того.
stuff will be in later.
So we still want to include base building, even though if it's not in the first 0.63 experimental.
Sure.
We will still over time we are going to add it.
Exactly.
And just to remind everybody, we still want to reach the beta and 1.0
Exactly.
this year.
People are also afraid about like cleaning and
Yeah.
and scopes,
Yeah.
and all will get into place when
Right.
it's really ready for some public appreciation.
All right, cool. So the next big thing, so we are at the. Batty is trying to kill a chicken here, obviously, with the guys. So what's changing here compared to 0.60, 0.62?
Да.
basically killing a chicken. Obviously, you kill it, and there's a user action to skin and get the meat from the chicken. What's changed here in 0.63?
Yes, of course you can hunt the animal, which seems
to be
like
hard.
a bit challenge there. Maybe there's something broken. Oh, she's climbing the hill. Nice.
Yeah.
Quite a steep one. Okay, but when you hunt some animal and you skin it, you get bloody hands, obviously. And these bloody hands can give you some diseases when you are trying to eat with them and do actions like that. So it will be better for you to wash them before eating and doing other actions.
And
nice, we killed the chicken finally. Yes, that took long.
Okay, so
GG.
now we will see probably.
We're probably gonna see that it's bugged, right?
Okay, it seems a little bit off.
Okay. This is why we are not releasing too experimentally yet.
Exactly. So you won't be able to survive.
Блин, а присесть не судьба. И освежевать курицу. Так, опять подгрузон.
Basically. But
there was
there we go. So now we can see after the skinning the survivor character will get bloody hands.
Yeah. And we can also see that all the actions now, instead of you don't knowing how long they take, you have the indication how long things take. You can you can.
We have like two kinds of actions. One of them are single use, like you just press the button and the action is quite fast with the animation. Another type is like the continuous one. All actions like eating or crafting are the continuous one.
Yeah.
Some of them, most of them are able to use even while character is on the move, like it's moving, walking, jogging.
Maybe you can show
not
that.
Sprinting, of course.
Maybe you can show that right now with the eating in the hands. That would be the long teased, long-awaited feature. You can now feed.
Now you can see the action is ongoing. You can see the progress circle in the middle of the screen, and on the left bottom corner you can see the amount of the can. So now Buddy can cancel it by releasing the button, and that amount is propagated to the stomach.
So there's no more 30% of a can. You just see it all visually.
Exactly. Like how long you hold it, how long you use the
and that
item.
exact amount that gets eaten.
Exactly.
Cool.
So it's really nice. Allows you to move while doing this.
Может, ты завалишь, а? Боевку посмотрим, а?
And I mentioned the stomach. Like now, Bati ate some amount, some volume of the can.
Yeah.
It goes to the stomach where it's split to the solid and water part, and it's or to be exact, to the like energy. Okay, so it's a little bit more complicated.
Yeah.
We have like 3 types of stomachs.
Right.
One is for try to simulate cow, maybe a little bit. No. Like we want to differentiate between the like water consumption and or water digest and like the solid digest.
All right.
So it goes to the like stomach is just one thing, one volume, which is going to fill it up, and kilocalories and water is going to separate stomachs, from which it's transferred to the water and energy values of the character.
Okay.
over time. So even when you eat the full cans, it's not just like snap.
Yeah.
You get the energy.
You need to take time to process the food. And
exactly. It's going over time, and your water level and energy level is raised over time.
Right. And the indication of that, obviously, as we can see, like
yes, of course, there is indicators in the right bottom corner. Now you can see the energy is going down a little fast.
It's probably because of all the log holing.
Of course, the energy consumption is. It depends on your movement,
right?
Like the speed of the movement speed, and stuff like that. When you are sprinting, more energy is depleted than while you are walking,
right?
So the energy and water levels are actually the blood level regeneration is. It depends on your water and energy level.
Okay.
So once you see one of these two icons shows yellow, it means there is multiplier applied, like
so that it's regenerating
0.0
faster.
exactly. So when one of these indicators, water or energy shows yellow, your blood regeneration is slower. When one of these indicators shows red, it means your blood regeneration stops.
Okay.
Basically, so it's really beneficial to keep your levels up,
right.
Which means the white indicator shows like now currently. It means like when it's white, it's fine. You doesn't need to really bother with it. When it's yellow, some action should be.
You're gonna have to start think about it, maybe.
And when it's red, it means like okay, it's critical. Do something right now, or in very close future to prevent some stuff to happen.
Guys, seriously, why do you have a fireplace on the road? Okay, so
and sorry, just to finish it, the health regeneration depends on the level of blood. So when you are really low on blood, health regeneration is really slow. When you are full on blood, health regeneration is quite fast.
So there's basically 4 things you need to watch still: water, food, blood level, and health level.
Exactly,
but and temperature,
like most important stuff is basically energy and water levels, because of course you can replenish the blood with the transfusion with right blood bags or the saline. While blood bags gives you immediate raise of blood amount in your bloodstream or veins.
Right.
Saline is working a little bit different. It just pumps the amount of regeneration of blood itself.
Right.
So more beneficial for you is to correct blood type from blood bags.
Right.
Печально.
All right. So we have seen the guys trying to build a fireplace, and they were actually pointing the stick at. This is all. Like, I love that little detail. Now, when you're pointing the stick actually at the fire with the steak or the meat, it makes this little, like, you're turning the meat around animation, and you can cancel it at any time, which is such a huge change to what DayZ was before. Because now everything in DayZ basically is you have it under control. You can do things the way that you want to do it in game.
Yes.
And that goes for everything as movement, user actions. It's just we are getting the control back to the player basically, not having the game do some random
Absolutely.
Random stuff.
It needs to be really.
Yeah. Now we're washing hands.
Okay.
Nice. Cool. See, guys, and this is how you avoid diseases and
And now Betty can take a sip.
Yeah.
to raise water level a bit.
Nice.
You can see it in the water indicator.
Yeah.
Down there, it's going up.
Yeah. Cool.
Maybe if you have a water bottle to fill it.
Cool thing is, if you want to wash your bloody hands and you're not near, you know, the water pump or any other like large water source, but you have the water bottle with the water in it, you can actually pour it over your hands and wash your hands now. It's a nice little detail as well.
Of course, you can do it from the water bottle, as you mentioned. You can do it from even pot with the water in it, or canteen. It doesn't matter, or jerry can.
Cool. All right, so we've covered how you... these are the new tourist trails. Adam is actually playing on the server now, so he cannot see it on... But this
I bet he's one in the tactical shop.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, so, yeah. I guess we're not gonna talk about the tourist trails. Maybe let's...
Currently, we can see the naked eye zoom in action. Like,
that's something.
Can you show us?
That's something a lot of people ask us to do. We mentioned in status reports that for some reasons we removed it from the game.
Of course, it was a little bit conflicting with entering the iron sites. Now we decided to get it back.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of crucial part of DayZ. To be able to focus on the long distance, even it's not as strong zoom as it was before. So currently it's implemented like you are able to focus your eyes to get that naked eye zoom, so call it.
Yeah.
Even just when you are in lowered stance. So once you are already in raised stance with your weapon or with the melee weapon, you are not able to do the naked eye.
Yeah.
We will try to do something with this, but it doesn't fit the control scheme we want really well. So we will see how that goes. So currently it's like that, and I think it's fine for the experimental. So it's back, and you can really look closer or focus to the...
So we didn't forget about that feature. It's still there. So, and I know that for a lot of people it's a very important feature to be able to check your surrounding this way. So
exactly,
it stays. You like to use the word ditch basically often when it comes to features, but we didn't ditch this one. And I think it works really nicely in 0.63. It's so smooth and nice visually. Even.
I like to use ditch word on the stuff which is not needed in DayZ, and or which didn't went well, but we know what DayZ is, what it should be about, what the vision is. So all the necessary or important stuff will be in the game, if not in this experimental later.
Yeah.
So.
What else should we show in the major gameplay changes part? I think we went through user actions. We didn't get to the shooting part of the game actually still, or?
The shooting part, I think they shot the chicken, but maybe we can show some, or do some showcase of the weapons, like loading the magazines.
Yeah. This is...
okay.
No, that's exactly how you do it.
There is a little bit issue, like currently the game thinks when you do this, that ammo pile is like 8 meters away, so it doesn't allow you to do this. Obviously it's a bug. Maybe try to drop the ammo pile on the ground, put the magazine in your hand and point on it. And now we can also showcase how the crafting put the magazine in your hand. Is there?
Девочка там, батя нам
trying to
говорит.
figure out
Косячу я, да?
if loading the magazine
Okay, you
is
have
broken.
magazine and
Alright.
no, put
Put it on the ground.
put a mobile on the ground,
Yeah.
and now you can see you can
Yeah.
load magazine
And this
directly
is-
from the
yeah,
ground.
This is how you now load magazines in the game. You need to have the items physically available
Exactly.
somewhere on the ground.
Every round is basically a continuous action,
Yes.
which is quite short. Of course, it depends on the balance, the amount of the time to fill the full mag, but it can be clearly. We have 3 ways how to make this. It can be done from the inventory, which is obviously not working this time.
Yeah.
But you can just drag and drop ammo pile on the magazine in your hand to combine it. It will throw you in the world, and by holding the left mouse button, you will be doing the loading. Or you can have the ammo pile in your quick bar, and by holding the quick slot number, you can start loading it. Or it should at least show you the action for it, or you can have that ammo pile on the ground. So there are like 3 ways to do same action, which is really nice when you want to fill plenty of your mags quite fast. You will throw some stuff on the ground and do it from the ground.
So now when you
without
want to
visiting the inventory.
Yeah.
I want to emphasize that we really want to minimize
также не показывает
inventory
FPS.
opening or going to inventory to check some basic stuff.
Right.
Actually, we are running on the version from yesterday, and now you can see in the left bottom corner, Bati holds FNX 45 in hands, and now we have also the mode, zeroing, and ammo available show in that batch about the stamina. But it's in today's version, not in this we are running currently. So maybe can you have let's say a pile in your hand to just show like there is the amount of it shown in the HUD?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see there is 25 from 25 rounds.
So instead of having the
hands.
information on like all different places, because the zeroing was in the top right corner.
Yes,
and
yes.
so you have it all in one place, nicely positioned, right above the stamina.
We tried some different iterations. We have zeroing and oh, nice. Bati found ambiently spawned stone.
So
really nice.
No more texture spamming.
No. That's thing of the past, and it was really a placeholder which stayed with us for such a long time.
Yeah.
So finally, it's solved through the central economy. You can found apples, stones, and later other stuff like mushrooms, maybe sticks, and
Things
other
like
fruits like pears or plums in the world.
It's not going to be.
Ай-яй-яй. Ну, в чате тут просят постройку базы показать, FPS показать, боевку показать. Чат, конечно,
Only
бомбит.
apples, but we're actually
Очень
going to
сильно
be able
бомбит.
to find pears.
Yes, like
that's cool.
we should really focus on the fruits which Černarus can yield instead
sure.
of have bananas and kiwis.
Right. Although it's a nice Easter egg, obviously.
Лучше, по крайней мере, не с колен уже. Буферизация опять, а? Извиняюсь. Ну, может быть, это не мои проблемы, не с интернета. Twitch.
Obviously. to have the QIWIs in again?
Maybe we will use these in some events and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or maybe we will make a banana made of plastic so people can wear it in the chest holster and stuff like that. But
ooh, it's happening, guys.
Yeah.
Ну, чат просит пострелять. Ну, я так понимаю, они чат вообще не читают. Либо нет человека, который читает чат. То есть, я так понимаю, модеров нету.
But we are trying to have more common foods in general than these exotic ones, because if we say like these this stuff is happening like maybe like 3-5 years after the outbreak or something like that, there wouldn't be fresh bananas in general, of course. So
obviously, for very obvious reasons. All right, we've talked a little bit about the you know, the quick slot basically. What's the correct? I always.
Не, ребятки, как я играю, как я стримлю, как я все смотрю, у меня проблем не возникает. Интернет у меня тянет.
Forget the correct name in English for it. Quick slot.
Quick bar with quick slots.
Yeah, quick bar with quick slots. All right.
I hope so.
So now, obviously, as we explained with the user actions, you now need to use it probably a little bit more than you used to in 0.62.
Well, yes, because now the R key isn't used for the reloading, so maybe Bati can show us how she will reload her gun. You can do it basically.
Режим огня появился. Что новое? Ладно, поставим на авто.
From the inventory still, like
this was pressing the R. He just, you know, like.
Yes, the R key is charge the weapon. So basically,
you have to load it with the ammo.
You really need to think in advance, like
exactly.
What do you want to do, what do you want to be prepared for, and stuff like that.
Okay.
Now we can see some ambient apples spawned under the apple trees.
Nice.
There was some mentions from the community, like if the apple trees will spawn on the trees, actually, and similar stuff. We tried it, but it's really hard to do because the spawned items are basically static, and the wind and the trees are shattering in the wind, or the moving in the wind. So we will see the static apple, and the tree will be moving left and right, which doesn't look good. So we decided to spawn apples under the trees, and I think it's fine, and it's much better than it was before, like that search for apples action. So I think it will be appreciated by players.
Cool. We have one like very general question from the chat. It was a while back, and the question generally says, there's going to be generally some of the very old bugs in DayZ, let's think, you know, breaking legs on staircases and things like this. So are we gonna address those in 0.63, Peter?
Of course.
I mean,
the breaking legs bug. Basically, it wasn't a bug. It was an issue.
Right.
It was an issue with synchronization and stuff around it. When the server thought you are at some place, but actually you had been in some other place, and when he get this stuff equal, so the servers is always right. So it just like swap you on that position. You fall from such high height, which will damage your leg. now the synchronization is much better. New character controllers is much better. It's using like actual physics,
Right.
not physics, but the bullet physics.
Okay.
It's really nicely done. So there won't be any issues like you mentioned now. So
Right.
like no.
And this one specific example of the the staircases, this is like one of the most common legacy DayZ issues that we've had, and with the rewrite to a new scripting language, with the rewrite of the animation system, and all these technology parts of the game.
Basically, that's why you guys are waiting so long.
Yes, exactly. Because it's going to address some of the most critical, annoying issues that everybody had with the legacy DayZ versions.
Definitely. Now we can see some millified action. With millified, we changed back from the combos we were talking about in status report a while back.
To shave herself.
Okay, shaving won't be in the first experimental.
No, okay.
I know.
Без крови. Ее затыкали ножами и ни капли крови. Отлично. Ладно, ждем буферизации опять. Блин.
There's an issue. We can we can hide the bird geometry from the character head, because for some reason character's head it's special case from everything you see in DayZ, and it's not working on the butt event full cannibal
cannibalism. Typical. I think that's Mr. Moon's influence, really.
So there won't be bird growing and shaving birds in the first experimental.
Right.
We firstly needs to solve it on the engine part, of course, like with any other stuff which will be missing in the first experimental.
But what's going to be in the first experimental is obviously, and you started with that, the new melee combat system.
Yes, the new melee combat, like you was able to see a little bit while ago. We have light attack, we have heavy attacks with the shift modifier basically, which is depleting stamina. So you will need to manage your stamina even for the melee combat. Of course, everything is bound to the balance.
Right.
So.
Да. Но если я поставлю 720, то качество картинки улучшится. Вернее, улучшится.
How you see it right now, or how it will be in the first experimental, it doesn't mean it will be like that in the beta release. So we are going to release it mainly for testing and to see like how it plays by public.
Yeah.
And there is of course like light attacks, heavy attacks. We had combo attacks before, but it was really tedious because in fact we have different hit impact animations from different attack types. But when the combo chain was like light, heavy attack, you had like light impact, and heavy impact, which takes decision from the player which attack or which damage or kind of impact he want to make for the opponent.
Right.
So because of that, we basically did it, and with light and heavy attacks, it's much better. Player can control the progression of the fight or the outcome of his action, basically. Apart from the attacks, there is blocks and also evades. I think evades are currently commented out in this version from yesterday.
Yeah.
But there should be blocks which should mitigate damage done and lower the impact, which means like when you are hit with the heavy attack, while you are blocking, you just get the light hit impact. The impact types differs with the anime.
Ну вот это то ли непонятно какое-то, блин, все в ссадинах.
Which maybe Victor and Adam can talk about.
Yep.
Like light impact is additive, like you can still move while you are in, but the heavy impact will literally lock you in the animation of the heavy impact because it's full body. So you can move while you are playing that animation of the heavy impact.
Before we pass the word to Victor and Adam from our animation team, there is one pretty important question from the chat that I think we can answer already. And obviously, with the change in gunplay as well in DayZ, there have been some changes done to the actual weapons way. This is also one of the concerns of the legacy versions of DayZ. Obviously, we've talked about this in status reports. So everybody who reads status reports already knows. But in short, can we explain how the weapons way changes in 0.63?
Of course, the sway and the recoil was kind of issue in the previous version or in the old DayZ.
Yeah.
Maybe we can see that if Betty goes to the iron sights. Ah, there's chicken hand again. Maybe. Okay, can you go to the iron sights?
Опять что-то часто стало буферить. Винда не обновляется.
Again. And we can observe the sway, which is kind minimalistic.
Yeah,
it's
very.
No, like overdone. When you hold the hold breath button, control for now, you can see.
Yeah, you can see it stop.
Так, наверное, все-таки попробуем на 720 перевести.
Questions from the chat, maybe. New gestures. Okay, we can start with showing some new gestures when that's done. That's fine.
Well, actually, currently, as the even gestures like which are full body and are two-handed, with omits the item in hands. They are working, but there are some issues. Bati put her items from hands off, so maybe she can show some SOS.
Yeah, let's start with some gestures.
Or
do we know the key binding? No.
We changed the key binding a little bit. Yeah. But we have so many gestures. It will need radial menu actually.
Yes.
So we will be still able to bind functional keys to the gestures, but there will be more of them, so it will be accessible through the radial menu, which will be divided by the groups, like friendly and thread and stuff like that. We want to add, and I think it's already being done, like some military hand gestures, like go, stay,
and then the animation team's favorite,
go down and stuff like that.
The rock, paper, and scissors.
Rock, paper, scissors, of course.
That's going to be absolutely awesome. I can't wait for it to be
personally, I would be happy if at least suicide gesture will be able in the first experimental. So as I want to say, we have a little bit issue with the items in hands while doing gestures. At some gestures, so maybe we will allow these which are not problematic ones, like greeting and stuff. But these two-handed full body stuff maybe will not be in the first experimental release.
Okay, so I think this wraps up our part, Peter. Thanks a lot for coming to the live stream. I think we've showed some of the cool new stuff.
It was my pleasure.
Yeah.
To talk to you and to showcase some stuff to you guys. So I hope you enjoyed.
Yeah. All right. Let's switch up. We're gonna have Adam and we're gonna have Victor coming in. Betty, are you ready to let the station for Adam?
Yes.
Cool. Let's do this.
Анимация. Так, на 820 буферка больше не проскакивает. Но зато картинка стала процентов на 30 хуже.
Okay. So how are we doing? We just need to teleport for a different location, right, buddy? Okay. Yeah. So we're gonna start with letters. So ideally, if you go to outer, that would be nice. All right, Victor, you can already start coming in here. Hello. Hi. Welcome to the live stream, Victor. How do you feel? You were traveling today, right? Yep. Yeah, that way.
I was traveling
Hello.
today.
Hello again. Welcome to the live stream, Victor.
Hey.
So you were traveling today, right?
Yes,
you were visiting our colleagues in the Brno office.
I was visiting our other office to have some meetings there, and
yeah.
But I made it back, so
nice, in time. We were a little bit like worried because it was like really close, about 2 hours before the live stream, but you made it, so
yeah.
GG. All right. Hello, Adam. This is Adam Oreston, our technical animator. Did I pronounce that correctly, by the way?
Yep, I think so.
Cool. Yeah, that way. Right.
Yeah.
We have very complicated microphones.
Yeah, these ones I'm not used to. All right.
All right. So welcome to the live stream, Adam.
Thank you. Hello, everyone.
Yeah. Let me check what we want to start with. I think we wanted to start showing one of the coolest new things in the new animation system and in the player controller, and that would actually be the prone animations and the prone aiming and this kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. It's been a lot of work.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I think it's one of those more exciting features in the new player, like, because that's like something we couldn't think about in the old system. So as you can see, the character is able to go prone and just turn 360 degrees on the ground. If you put some gun, if you have, Adam?
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, so you can actually aim now doing this, which looks smooth, yeah.
Except for the first-person camera clipping, which we need to resolve, obviously.
That's definitely a high priority for us to look into a first person and just to improve it and just make it properly, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, the prone at the moment is still work in progress. So far, we do have some of the features already plugged in, but we're planning to definitely improve that. As you can see, actually in Crouch, you can notice there is a new pose right now.
Yep.
And the character actually has a proper turning animations now. It looks much better even from the third person. So if you see like the other character doing these turns, it looks kind of realistic, I would say.
Yeah, and it doesn't impede your movement either. Like if you're turning, it doesn't stop you from instantly going in the direction that you want to go. So there's still some camera issues, like we said, we need to work out, but that will come with time, obviously.
Yep.
Yep.
So as will, sorry for interrupting, Victor, as will like a lot of backfixing and the general polishing of all the things that we start to switch off and switch on in 0.63. These will change, you know, with the backfixing and with the polishing over time.
Definitely,
in experimental and in beta.
Definitely, yes. We'll keep improving what we have. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, so the new player, the player character is, I would say, very different from the old one.
Yeah.
It's maybe not that noticeable in the video, but once you touch the controls,
Yeah.
you will definitely
That's when
notice
the magic happens.
right away, because the character is just responsive. Like,
Yeah.
if you play with this one, you don't want to go back to the old one,
Right.
like
No.
literally.
Yeah, I've been trying to play some 62
Yeah.
on Steam, and it's just after I've been working
it's
with
just
this, it's
very
impossible.
hard. Yes.
Feels kind of off, like, yeah. So we can actually showcase like the responsibility a bit, like the fact that you can actually interrupt the animations. So if you decide to go to a different stance, you have actually option to change your mind, and the new system allows us to interrupt the animation, which is kind of cool. And you can see there's like this go to prone, which also adds to some immersion.
Yeah, and it feels really good to be able to just kind of blend in between, okay, I want to move to prone, but I want to stop doing it so you don't fall off the roof. It really allows you to sort of control your character to an extent that you are not able to do that in 62.
Right.
Yes.
So, let me check here really quickly. So, like, obviously behind the new animation system and the player character, there's obviously a lot of work behind it, and it does not only influence the way that the character feels and moves in the game, it also has a little bit of influence on the other things. Can you maybe like explain like what other systems it actually helps to have the new animation system?
Yeah. Obviously, like the fact that we work on the system for some time also reflects the fact that we were having some troubles in the past with the previous system regarding the network communication. So this one, the latest one, the final one, the most advanced one, system finally has like some significant improvements in the network communication and like inbound sending of packets. Like right now, it's just like it works smoothly. It's a server-client communication.
Yeah, cool. And in general, it also having this new system.
Сейчас просят дату релиза.
That we have to like iterate for a really long time over the course of development of DayZ. It just generally helps you guys and the design team achieve generally more in the game itself.
Absolutely, yes. Like it's really great that we are like working with the animation programmer on the features that we actually need, right? So.
Нет, лучше не стало. Переходим обратно на 720-60 FPS.
3 different parts.
Yeah.
And this gives us a great opportunity to interrupt the animation after a certain of time, or like send events when guys needed to calculate their stuff.
Yeah. So as Adam was showing a little bit, maybe I missed that, but basically when you start eating or drinking, and suddenly you see any signs of danger, maybe like a enemy survivor, like hostile survivor approaching you, or wolves, you can immediately stop the action and you can just start sprinting right away with no issues.
Yeah. Like that's probably the most visible part comparing to the old system, the one that is actually all 62 using at the moment. That in the old system, because of the technology used, we were not.
Уже даже 720 на 60 FPS. Буферка появляется. Так, а что-то чат тормознулся. А, не, наверное, им просто надоело бомбить. Ну-ка проверим ихний чат. Не, нормально. Восемь с половиной тысяч зрителей. Топ. Ну, поставить автоматически. сейчас опять прыгнет, блин, на 160. Что-то вообще никак не реагирует. Ладно, быстренько попробую перезапустить.
Player is too heavy for that.
Если вы это смотрите, значит я мертв. Я создал секретный объект, пасхалку. Кто первым найдет, получит $500 миллиона и полный контроль над оазисом.
Most noticeable change in
Definitely, yes. I think it's something you cannot miss if you used to play with the current DayZ that is out, and you touch this character, you will see it's literally a different game in that matter. So yeah, like also like regarding the amount of animations, because of the possibilities that we right now have, that meant that we have to increase amount of the animations basically. Like for instance, the guns are high detailed animated right now, so you have like reload chamber, you know, you have recoils, you have like this weapon action, and like
everything is properly placed for each weapon.
Yeah, I think like the weapons are really nicely animated, so the guys did a great job.
Yeah. Obviously, adding the content back to the 0.63 that we've had in 0.63, because DayZ has quite a lot of different weapons.
Yep.
So that process of adding the things up to the content still takes some time. So we are going to keep adding the weapons throughout the 0.63. And if you guys are watching the, if you guys are following our status reports, and if you have seen the checklist that we've just recently published on our website at dayz.com, you already know that there's going to be some like content differences between in the first 0.63 experimental and throughout the 0.63 experimental. But the goal is now that you guys can iterate much faster with the version of the game that we have now.
Absolutely.
That the content can be added at much more faster pace than waiting on legacy versions of DayZ for a
And I think Adam is very nicely pointing to this building that he's standing next to.
Yeah. So let's move on to letters.
Yeah, I think that's one of, again, like cool improvements from the old DayZ. If you will see like how the character enters letter now, it's like, I think, a bit better. We have different speeds on the letters as well, so you can like go down a bit more faster if you want as well. And especially the different is the exit animations on top. I think that's the most visible one, because right now the character just plays nicely.
Yep. And one thing to point out as well, the camera is still work in progress, obviously. It will definitely improve how it looks and how it feels when you enter these. And as well as going into the ladders is really nice now as well.
But you can see, even now, I think it's like, it's a great improvement.
Yep.
But the camera is definitely a big focus for us for near future, so that's something we will work on a lot. But yeah, you can see like the letters work pretty smoothly.
Yep. And there was another concerns in the legacy versions of DayZ. The letters now, compared to like the very old releases of DayZ Standalone, are already much improved.
Yep.
But just playing with letters in 0.63 in general will have you feel much safer about you actually climbing a ladder in DayZ, right?
Absolutely, like like all of those accidents.
Unless you get shot at, then you're a bit
Of
screwed.
course, yeah. But definitely, like I think it's a general improvement, like to these issues where you just fall and break yourself or die because of some like right now for upcoming experimental release that will be some time. We don't have, like, for instance, final version of overcoming obstacles yet, but that's something that we are actually actively working right now. And if you like look at the letters, that's probably the quality we're aiming at. So I think with the overcoming obstacles, with the new ones, it will be another great addition to DayZ, because like going through the terrain will be smoother.
For those who don't know, in the legacy versions of DayZ, you have the basic vault over like the obstacle animation, and that will now be completely changed. We're going to have like 2 different types of going over obstacles.
I think like more like 3, 4.
Oh, okay.
Like animation-wise, it's even more. Visually, I think it will be around 4 visual different states that you will notice. Yeah.
So, but we will have we should have the like jump over obstacles.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then we have the actual climbing, or like
climbing over or climbing on the obstacles. So yes, that's something we are adding the animations right now to the prototype for the programmers to plug that in. So yeah, I think like this next week we will have like some working prototype that we will build on then. Yeah.
So unfortunately we can't show that right now because it's still not in the game, but we're very close. So I think in one of the following status reports, I think we will maybe be able to tease a little bit.
Yeah,
because that's going to be like a huge addition again.
It will be like, because I think it's for DayZ especially, where you have a different environment, obstacles or different environment, buildings, walls, fences. You should be able to go over that.
Okay. Zigzagging. How do we solve zigzagging in like the fast movement with the mouse?
Yeah, so we are already solving it a bit, at least. It's still, again, work in progress, but if you, for instance, now do like a quick run and you turn, the character will just slow down and it will disable the zigzag a bit, at least. But it's something we iterate at the moment to give like some good feeling and good result for the guys in the design team.
Right, and as Peter was saying earlier, right now in 0.63, the gameplay is a lot more about thinking, like planning the next steps ahead. And obviously, right now, if you get into combat, you cannot, you cannot do the very super quick, like running from side to side. So that's one more thing to think about during the gameplay.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Victor, do you still have anything specific that we want to show? Maybe I'm going through our list here, and it seems like, except for like maybe more of the melee combat, we've won.
Yeah, regarding melee, I'm not sure if Adam is alone in this area.
That's the issue.
That's fine. We probably won't be able to show the hit reactions, but as Peter suggested.
Yeah, Peter is also suggesting now, though, that if we are near water somewhere, maybe.
Oh yeah, that's true. We forgot.
Неужели опять на 720 прихранить?
About it. But I think just look into the distance somewhere.
It's gonna take some time to get there, though.
I mean, we can teleport. We're the developers.
Yeah, it would be nice also to show off maybe some injured player to show that sort of blend in between the 2 states that we have.
Can you cheat in this version?
Can we do it?
I don't know. This is I can.
Yeah, just do some cheating there.
I'll just do some cheating. So we have the injured, and as you can see, the character sort of visibly gets more and more sort of injured as I'm showing this.
Like a little bit shrunk in the animation.
And you can see now when I start moving, it's very visible even from a far distance that I'm going to be injured. Though it seems like the server might not be showing what the speed that's actually visible in the animation.
Because you are cheating.
Yeah, because I'm cheating. But the animation is there, and obviously the more injured you are, the slower you are, and when you reach a certain point, sprint is just not longer there for you. So at that point, you're basically limited to the run speed, which makes you an easy target as well. Yeah. So the more you injure someone, the easier they will be to hit. Cool. So yeah. And as you can see, if I'm like halfway injured, there is sort of like a hobbling animation between those 2 states. So it's not just binary, it's not just fully healthy and fully injured. It's sort of like this half in between. And we're tweaking the values on like trying to find the sweet spots in those animations. And we're slowly getting there to a final sort of version.
But basically right now we do have all the animations for injured in-game. That means it's coming with the next updates, and also it's a kind of huge amount of work to be like to see like it's basically double of the character that was there, because we had to cover all the animation states and all the transitions and all the look ats and all the aim spaces. So it is quite a lot, but I think it's very visibly exciting.
Nice. One other thing that obviously we didn't mention just yet is that in DayZ we now have proper falling animations.
Again, it's something that we will be working on with the overcoming obstacles. But we do have some falling animations already. I think you will have to be a bit higher.
Yeah. I'm not sure if we're able to fall from this, since the railing is sort of inhibiting us from taking any sort of suicide. But
well, I think we can maybe still teleport at least on the roof of the little.
Yeah.
That's one thing we can do maybe.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Ideally, if we could get to that water somewhere. But
yeah, water with falling would be nice.
Yeah.
So how do I teleport exactly?
There you go.
Here we go. Let's try to find some water here. So I guess these ponds will do. So it's insert.
Oh. There we go.
There we go. So yeah, it's a really nice natural blend once you get into the deeper waters, which this doesn't seem to be actually.
Not deep enough.
Not enough, no. Maybe in this little pond here. Obviously,
no, I think you'll need a bit bigger.
Yeah, probably need some sea.
Yeah, let's go to the coast actually.
Zoomies.
So yeah, that's one of the latest additions as well that we have been working on, like swimming. Actual like nice transitioning to the swim, and there are 2 speeds right now for the swim, so you can go either slower or a bit faster. Yep, like that.
We're still playing with the speed that they will allow you to travel at. As they're relatively the same now, but obviously everything is being worked on here.
So yeah, we are also planning, like right now it's a very basic implementation of the swimming from our side. Feature-wise, I think it works very well, but we will be adding a bit more animations, so we can like add some turning in water and maybe a bit better idle animations and such. So yeah, we will iterate on that as well.
All right.
But yeah, the swimming is also kind of cool.
And it's not just going forward either. We do have some slow movements to the sides, and we just need to plug those animations in, and it will look really natural. So you're not just forward, there's also directional.
I think everybody who played DayZ for long enough can already also see the different, the visuals of the water are now also changed quite significantly. You can see different. Looks nice actually. This is one of the first times I'm seeing the new water and new sea actually.
See if we can find some falling.
Oh yeah, let's do some falling.
Yeah, some falling. So we are planning to have a different fall animation depending on the height of the fall. So right now I think this will be the highest fall from them all. So you just
Obviously the damage is the damage plugged in?
Yes,
it does.
It is already,
definitely. So now you can actually see the actual speed of the injured as well. I got really injured from that fall, so it's really playing across the animation. And once you see a player hobbling along like this, he's easy pickings for your banditry.
You can put a gun in your hand maybe, so we have a different injury animation.
Yeah, and obviously this will play into your first-person view. You see it's not really reliable in that sense, since obviously the more hurt you are, the harder it will be. Maybe some rifle animations.
Yeah.
So all of them are different, and they all kind of play across differently on the character as well. And they all have look-ats and everything. So.
And as the character heals, you get more of the normal animation and less of the injured one. So there's some blending as well in this situation.
All right.
Блин, опять буферка.
we can maybe show some light falling as well, but I'm afraid that will probably kill my character. And
Oh.
Yeah, I think if you fall from those logs,
Yeah,
it should be
fine.
it should be
hopefully.
light.
so you can see here as well, the sprinting is not full speed at this point. It's sort of a half in between the more injured. And then I fall. And you can see that this is mainly like the light fall, and it's mainly just showing across the upper body. Since the fall from the roof was definitely several meters, this little fall won't break your legs or kill your character.
Yeah, we're planning to have this the lightest fall to have it actually kind of.
Ну, приходится переключать на 720-60 FPS.
So we can see the face.
Oh yeah, not entirely sure I can with the. Yeah, it's a bit hard with the look at, but yeah, we do have. We're working on facial animation on the characters, but I'm not entirely sure if all the heads are ready for that yet. It might be some issues with that. Our stock character that we're working with, our development character, has facial animations when you're eating, when you're drinking, and you're doing these actions. There's a couple of funnier gestures that we have in works to have a bit more facial animation in there instead of just that blank 1,000-mile stare. But yeah, it's coming.
But yeah, we will be also working on obviously like some blinking and some facial reactions to different situations. For instance, if you get hit, we will reflect that in the facial expression as well. Like, so it will look, I think, more natural again.
As I'm watching the chat, one of the things not completely related to animations themselves, it's more like really physics related.
Of course.
And the server side things related is that in Zero, obviously, I mean, original DayZ we had the plan to include like throwing, the ability to throw things. That's not in the experimental now, and we don't plan it for the initial release. But just to answer the question, we still count with the throwing, and it's related on server side and server synchronization changes.
Absolutely,
and basically also as I said, the physics of entire game.
Yeah, it's a cooperation of all of those departments. Like, we have to provide the animations, programmers have to plug in the physics, and also the other programmers have to make that synchronized over the server.
Right.
But yes, we don't have that at the moment in this build. But yes, we want to have that in game, obviously. Yeah. Like, it's an important feature.
And again, just to confirm that what we've like talked about earlier, there's going to be jumping in the game, jumping over obstacles, and then climbing over smaller and even a little bit higher obstacles.
Like I think there will be like 3 different heights. You can climb over, climb on top, and continue. If it's like, for instance, like small, some, I don't know, something.
Yeah. All right. So, but it's not an experimental now. It's not going to be released with a experimental, but there's going to be jumps. There's going to be climbing over obstacles. Oh. So don't worry, guys. It's coming.
It's coming.
Okay. Do we still have anything more to show? Anything
pretty happy
specifically
with
exciting?
what we've shown so far.
Yeah.
Me too. It was quite a lot.
Like, basically, it's all that there was and more. So I think like the character is shaping up pretty nicely. So we're happy.
For sure.
I mean, I personally can't wait for the moment that people really will be able to play with this. Because
me too, right?
That means so much actually having the control. We keep saying that again and again, but this cannot be overstated. It's just so completely different.
It is completely different.
Okay. So I think that will be all from you guys. Thanks for coming, Victor.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming, Adam.
Thank you for letting me play.
It was a very good showcase. And yeah. Let's switch back and let's have Eugen on the scene right now. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Что, на этом все? Да. Час 15 стрим был. А, нет. Кто-то решил еще поиграть. комментариев, без общения, без рассказов, без отчетов. Ну, посмотрим. Типа я играю в 0.6.3. Так, ну, пока не замолчали, наверное, я могу выразить свое мнение. Как стрим, конечно, извиняюсь, на УГ полное. Толком ничего не показали. Вернее, не показали ничего нового.
Okay, I think we're back. Welcome, Eugene. Welcome to the live stream.
Hey, nice to see you guys.
So, Buddy is, I think, setting up.
Бугор
Do
пришел.
we need to do something specific now? Okay. Can we have the guys back, maybe, if they're still there somewhere, to have a little bit of multiplayer action, maybe?
Ну давай,
That'd be
Евген,
nice.
рассказывай.
Okay, Eugene. 0.63.
Евген.
One of the biggest changes of DayZ overall.
Definitely.
Changes completely everything. What would you? What's the most important thing that you want to say about the new update that we have
I
for
guess,
DayZ?
so as we were watching chat the whole time,
Yeah.
there were lots of questions. And I made like small notes
Yeah.
that I want to cover because people have been
Nice.
asking about that the whole time. So one of the top complaints there, loot. Yes, we're working on central economy.
Right.
We're working on making the distribution right. We know there will be some problems in the past, and we're definitely not gonna stop and just like we want to focus on making it better, and it's already working a lot better, and there's still like ways to go and make it more seamless, make it more natural. Like you'll be seeing items that not only the positioning of the items, just like the places they will be seeing them, the quantity they will be getting to the players, everything is being taken into account, and so hopefully we'll cover that. One of the another biggest questions that was happening there are vehicles.
Right.
We know
Oh yeah, obviously.
vehicles are important for DayZ. We definitely agree. There are people working on vehicles as we speak. And
for quite a long time, actually.
yeah,
already.
just so you know, and to understand the undertaking we're going for the new engine, and why it took so long. We're working on the new vehicles for about a year and a half, maybe 2 years. We want to make them the best we can, and we know they won't be ready for the first experimental. And I know we'll be talking with Martin about like how the experimental is gonna look like over time, how it's gonna change. We'll dart the timelines, but understand that vehicles will be in 0.63 before it goes basically 1.0.
Yeah.
Another thing that was asked the most: jump and vault. We understand it's important. Traversal environment is extremely important. It's something that we're working on right now. We're preparing. We have like a special map to test the jumps and vaults and traversal. It's one of the most important things we want to cover as far as traversal besides vehicles. It's going to happen. Again, it's going to happen after experimental comes out, but before 1.0.
Yeah.
And that since 1.0 is this year, we want to I just want to make sure you understand that this is
all
important.
of this we're talking about here is happening within 2018.
Yeah.
The year of DayZ, as we like to say.
And another important thing that people have been asking all the time about in chat, zombies.
Yeah.
Yes, zombies are important to this game. There will be zombies, lots of them. And I can't state how important zombies are right now for us, because that's one of our major priorities right now. Like, that's the only thing where we want to be focusing on in the next few weeks, definitely. Base building and all the things that have been missed by and said by Peter from optics. There's like a large part of technology that we're working on that's basically tied to base building, optics, and all those things. We'll hopefully be able to package them and get them out on experimental as soon as we can, which shouldn't take that long. There was one thing that was mentioned before. All of the options on the HUD can be actually turned off,
Yeah.
so you can get the roleplay experience you want. There was also a question on in the chat
Completely
as well.
zero HUD is absolutely possible on any server where you want.
Exactly. And I know a lot of the things that you've been seeing are still work in progress, but we're definitely
Да ну нафиг.
working hard on making sure whatever we get out is playable, is a good game, and you'll be having fun with it. Like
Yep.
that's our main goal. So that's just like the short questions that we had, and I wanted to cover because I know those were important to you guys.
Yeah.
And we can come back to the schedule.
Yeah.
So for the interruption, I just felt like
Maybe one thing we can get back to is the infected.
Mhm.
Because and the reasons why we don't have them on in this specific build. We have some issues with the infected movement, right? Being like displayed on the client side a little bit in a less ideal way than we would like to present, and that's why we ultimately decided not to include them in the build today.
we're of course testing zombies every
Yeah.
day. So it'll be, if you would be watching us playing
Yeah.
the game every day, there will be zombies.
Yeah.
There are bugs with them, and as Martin said,
Yeah.
their movement is not ideal right now. There are some synchronization issues
Right.
with zombies. But the technology is there. The data seems right. There's an obvious bug somewhere, and we need to find it.
Yeah.
And once we do that, we'll be right on point.
There's absolutely zero chance that we would go out with any experimental build without the infected, which is an absolutely critical part of what DayZ is as a game.
Like, and when you look at all the features that DayZ should encompass as you look at the vision of the game and what it should be in the future, what it should be as experimental comes out, what you guys want, what we want as the developers, because I think it's really important to state that a lot of the things that we want are very much aligned. Like, we want the same game that you guys want most of the time. We might disagree on some small things, but there's definitely a large correlation from the quality that we want to go for. And yeah, we're not going to stop until we do that.
Right. The other thing why I wanted to mention the infected is that as we were testing it earlier today with this build, as soon as you actually fire your weapon in a city now, you get quite easily overwhelmed by the actual hordes of the infected that are attacking you, and that would basically mean we would be dying a lot on the live stream. And yeah, we also wanted to kind of avoid that.
Yeah, that's actually a good point from Martin. Zombies are really hard right now.
Yeah.
And even if you disregard the synchronization issues, we're still tweaking them, and it's very, very easy to die if you don't stealth
Exactly.
in the space where the zombies are. The sounds are like very easy to make in enough volume that you'll alert a lot of zombies.
Yes.
And like me myself, I don't think I'm best at the game, but I'm not bad.
Yeah.
And I have a very hard time fighting like 2 or 3 zombies at the time. Like 1 maybe with
Yeah.
like a cold weapon is
But
okay.
You don't want to hard
2,
on
you're
yourself.
dead, because as soon as you get
Yeah.
injured and you slow down, you just like die a horrible death.
So yeah, this is the infected, obviously, and maybe even I keep staying at the infected, but it's such a huge topic actually. You don't have to only be worried about actually, dying from the infected attacks. You should also worry about the part that you only get injured, because as we've seen earlier, it slows down your character movement. It influences the overall gameplay situation you find yourself in. So it's not only that, you really have to, as Peter was suggesting earlier in the live stream, you just really have to think about how you play DayZ and what you do.
It's definitely the pressure that it creates in the game when you feel you're dying, things are blurring out,
Yep.
like there is desaturation on the screen or whatever processes we're going to apply when the death is near. You will feel under pressure all the time, hopefully, from survival mechanics, from zombies, from the lack of food or lack of ammo to protect yourself. You'll be stealthing through the cities, hopefully, trying to avoid zombies, because you will die easily.
Yes.
And we want to keep the engagements blood pumping, and that's what we aim for. So hopefully the freedom that the new animation system, the new technology that we created over the last couple of years creates a whole lot of options for us. I know that there is still a way to go, but the thing that we have in the hands right now has a lot of potential, and potential that we can definitely deliver.
Yes. Okay, moving on from the obvious lack of infected in our today's live stream. Let me open my notes. So yeah, big question from everybody who's following us closely in status reports and other content that we put out on social media. We've mentioned already that we have the goal to get to beta with DayZ this year, to get to the final 1.0 release, which means DayZ leaving early access. But our immediate goal is getting the 0.63 experimental out. So what is our goal, overall goal, for the first experimental release?
Yeah. So I know it's hard to believe, but we've been silent for a very good reason.
Yes.
Creating this technology took a long time. We made some mistakes, and we definitely...
As we were suggesting with Victor, only the animation system in itself was an iterative process for over 3 years of actual development time.
It was a long one. But yeah, the whole thing and the iteration that we're capable of right now is enabling the whole progress that we want to hit. And we're waiting for a long time to be sure that we can deliver before announcing any dates or anything. So we really stand by what we say right here, right now. We want to deliver in 2018. For the first goals for the experimental, what we're going for is we want to scale up. What does it mean is that we're going to be releasing experimental as a stress test first.
Yep.
So you'll be seeing it live for a couple of hours here and there in soon. That's probably the best word to use here right now.
People can check our progress on the actual DayZ.com website. If they check out the 0.63 checklist, you can actually see all the items that are work in progress that still need to be done and that are already done for the release. So you can. We are obviously not talking dates because we have some experience with it, let's say. But
I'm going to explain why we're actually careful, because I think it's important to understand that there's I might be like couple bugs off. I think there's about 290 Jira tickets right now for the experimental release. We're closing a lot of them. We're opening some as the bugs are introduced. But there are a few like critical issues, like the synchronization with zombies, where there is still like a lot of research behind finding the bug that's causing the desynchronization on the zombies, even if the players are all right. And it's hard to estimate like finding some of these things. But a lot of the things that you'll be seeing, like the crashes or whatever, during the internal development, like most of them are easy to fix, most of them. The hard ones are hard to predict, and if we still have these critical ones on the table, we're going to be very careful about dates. But it's definitely coming soon. After this 0.63 experimental is first live, which means we're going to be using a lot of our resources, both stable, experimental, to enable a lot of players to get in, play for a couple of hours. We're going to get the feedback, do an iteration patch, and get it live, hopefully as soon as possible after that. We're going to do small iterations at first, and as soon as the stability of the client and the server is all right, we're going to put it live for everybody to play all the time, so it's going to be under the normal maintenance mode. And as soon as that happens, 63 experimental is live all the time. We're going to make sure that the server owners that are currently renting servers for DayZ will be able to switch over to experimental version, because I really think not a lot of people will be playing 0.62 once 0.63 is available. It's an amazing change, really. And it's hard to explain. You just have to get it in your hands. Like it's a new game.
Yeah. So let's take a look at some of the more specific questions from the chat. Maybe maybe one question, then we're gonna talk.
It's an amazing piece of work and a part of a surprise that we want to deliver with experimental.
Okay, very specific question.
Okay.
Since we
так хочется качества. Ну давай. Неужели у вас такая безумная килобитность на Твиче выставлена?
We have some of the changes in inventory and user actions. Will we be able to rotate items in our backpacks? That's a very specific question.
I'm getting the confirmation that we can say yes.
All right, yeah, all right. All right, so Peter confirms that we will be able to rotate items in our backpacks. Yay. Cool. Bayonets. That's another very specific question. We're kind of hopping, but let's stick to the weapons theme maybe now. So they will be back, obviously. We know that the actual model itself, but over the course of 0.63, there's going to be one very important change that will.
Типа мемориала «Родина мать зовет». Пасхалка на Волгоград, Сталинград. Да.
Change how we use that item in the game.
I think the word freedom really just like describes what we are trying to do with DayZ. Basically, the player choice and how you use the environment, use the items that you have, to give you the options during all these situations that you basically see yourself in. And one of them is definitely like you see somebody approaching, you get in a melee range. We want to enable you to fight with a ranged weapon in melee, and bayonets should enable that. So that's something that the whole freedom thing for DayZ is gonna bring. So yeah, we're seeing that in the future.
Cool. Getting back to the version that we are running right now, we've seen quite a lot of the stuff related to gameplay and how the feeling of the game changes. What can we say about overall performance of the game, and that means both on client side, server side?
Okay, so when it comes to performance, when you look at the minimum specs and recommended specs for DayZ, since the game has been in development for a long time, the hardware available to players has definitely changed.
Yep.
Now, we're looking in.
Нет, все-таки на 720. Невозможно так.
Again, like always, with performance of the servers, it doesn't matter if anything above 60 really doesn't matter most of the time because of how the simulation works. So you can always use the performance to add more zombies, add more players. And we'll be looking into those stress tests to see like how many players we can get into the server, like how much we can scale up, what are the actual possibilities that we can achieve with the technology that we created. So all the things that you've been even asking in the chat about like how many players on the server, like how many zombies, like we want to see zombie hordes. We're going to be tweaking all those things and seeing like what are the maximums for us, like what do you guys feel comfortable with, like what we can achieve with the hardware that we have available. And you'll be seeing that and using that yourself because when 0.63 goes stable, you'll have the access to the server files. So that's actually where modding comes in as well.
Yes, 0.63 stable, guys. Remember that? Modding, server files, all available to our community to play with and to have fun on their own servers.
So basically, as I was saying, scaling and freedom. We want to scale up. We want to turn on features. We want to keep bringing things into the game that you are longing for years now, as we do. And we're going to give the server owners the ability to switch to experimental, use the 0.63 to create events and play with the guys that have been playing with them for a long time right now. And after that, we're just going to give you the server files, both for Windows and maybe down the road as well as Linux, which is in preparation right now. So there's lots of things coming, and we want to make sure we get almost all the features in during the time between 0.63 first experimental and 0.63 stable. So there's basically a timeline between those 2 points where we want to get all these things in and make sure they are nice, playable, smooth. We're going to be stress testing with you guys. We're going to be doing all sorts of things. So I'm very hopeful for what you'll be seeing this year and excited.
Right. Maybe related to one thing that we don't really talk a lot about is, obviously we've had a very long quiet time for the past, not a couple of months. It's been some time where we didn't really had the chance to push any updates on the live version of the game because of all the heavy lifting that was happening behind the scenes. But as soon as we got to the point that we have the stress test for 0.63 out, we have the servers for experimental running, and we also have the ability to have community servers switch to the experimental branch. There's also going to be a lot of general balancing of the gameplay happening over the course of that iteration. So when do you expect we can, not time-wise, but where do you think we can expect the DayZ game really behave the way that we would call it a somewhat balanced game, let's say? When's the point?
So what we expect when it comes to balancing in the future, there's definitely like settings we want to get it right now, so that the game is playable and it feels nice. But there will be oddities and edge cases where it just doesn't feel right. What happens after that is like one thing is feedback. So feedback is very important for us. So all the channels that we have will be like. I know we have been silent, but even these days I still read like all of the Reddit. I still read like all of the forums. We basically read it all of us. Yeah, and I think because there is so much passion in the team for the game that we're making, like everybody reads, and it's always a bit disheartening, but we know what we want to bring to the game, what we are delivering this year, is bring some positivity for the community that they'll be able to create, mod the game. They'll be seeing all the features that they've been wanting for a long time. So all these things are just exciting. And when it comes to balancing, just to come back to the question, so feedback, very important.
Yes,
as soon as the first stress test happens. So we'll be reacting to your feedback. We'll be reacting to the data that we will be gathering from the game. So from all the kill shots, like how the player dies, why he dies, where he dies, like didn't he have enough loot, like did he have access to ambient loot, food, drink, ammo, like what happened, why did he die, like is the experience actually fun, like all these things are definitely going to be considered, and we're going to be tweaking numbers, we're going to be tweaking tons of things that you'll see in game, from speeds to just like all the gameplay elements that you will encounter. Yeah, it is again going to be the time to dig through the forums, dig through the feedback tracker, and just listen to feedback of every one of you, and listening to the feedback of people we have even on live streams, because we obviously watch people play live. I know that because of the silence that has been happening over the last 2 years even, because we've been focusing on getting some of the core things out for the old version of the engine, the old technology, and basically what's live right now. And in the meantime, most of the team was being focused on the new gen engine, new technology that we're getting out with 0.63. There's just like about 80 core members on the team. With some of the artists, it might go even over 100. With some of the externals, maybe even over 110. So it's a large team. It's a large production. There's a lot of stuff happening. Everybody's reading your feedback. It's not like it's being forgotten. Everything is. We think about it all the time, and we definitely want to make the game that we want to play and you want to play. Yes. And to iterate with that, we need to have obviously the live version of that new DayZ experience 0.63 out. That's why I want to go out as soon as possible, because there are some things that even with this amount of people and the feedback that we have internally, there's just no way to go around public testing. So yeah, stress testing is very important for us, and we're gonna once we're happy with the base and getting the most important things. We're going to be playing that game with you guys. We're going to be getting feedback and turning on the features as they come in.
And again, maybe just to re-emphasize this for the people who have come like a little bit later to the live stream, there's going to be 0.63 experimental, the initial release. We're going to ramp up. We're going to keep adding content and features over the course of 0.63 experimental. That includes vehicles, that includes base building, that includes all the other stuff everybody's asking all the time. So these are going to happen throughout the course of experimental.
Yes.
Then we get to beta. We get to all that fancy balancing, putting the game, really making it work together with all the content and features that we've decided to have for that phase.
And that's very important. All the things that you'll see missing from the game will happen during the experimental.
Yes.
Like, we're going to be turning all those things to test them, to scale up, to see how they play out, to see how the sandbox goes with the gameplay features, how it expands the freedom of the player that is available to him, how it expands on the stories that you can create. And I'm looking forward to those, especially.
Okay. Very favorite question, obviously, in the community, related to all the things that people ask us about very often, is what are we going to do about the gamma settings in the game? Very popular question. Do we have some specific like idea what we want to do with this?
There are like more options what to do with those. We're still in talks how to enforce that, but it's one of the things that the community has been complaining about a lot, and we know it's a problem.
Yeah.
We're just not happy with the solutions we have right now. But it's a thing, like a lot of the issues that you have been seeing over the last couple of years is a thing that we want to fix during the experimental.
Okay. We also, besides our massive and awesome PC community, there's also people waiting for the DayZ releases on consoles.
Yes.
Are we ready to share anything about this a little bit?
There have been lots of questions about this, like how does it work for us? And it's one of the great boons of the technology that we have right now. There are only like a couple people, one for PS4 and like a couple, maybe 3-4 for Xbox, working on it to make sure it's compatible with the PC, that we can run it, and it's a very exciting thing because just all these technological marvels that we created over the last couple of years enabled us to make sure that we can release on all these platforms without too much of a hassle and like insane changes that basically change the game as a whole.
Generally, people in terms of like development for different platforms, people usually very quickly tend to think that there is like general porting happening. And while porting is probably a correct word to use it, it's not that like you take all the content and redevelop the game for those consoles altogether. It's actually a much easier process, I would say, than it would seem. At least with our technology, we are quite good.
There are definitely exceptions to that rule, but what we have right now enables us to do just what Martin said. There are some exceptions to that as well, like UI and controls are a very specific thing for consoles. So you might see some changes there, but otherwise, like, we want to keep the experience as intact as we can.
And I think the good thing to say is that thanks to our render, thanks to the changes in the backend, that means the Enfusion engine that is empowering DayZ, we actually now have pretty decent and very playable console versions of the game internally. Even now, it's running pretty damn nicely, I would say.
It's exciting. I'm very much looking forward to talking with these players that are just used for playing on Xbox, used on playing on PS4, and getting the DayZ experience to them, because I really do believe, like, even right now on the market with all the games that we've been compared to, there are no such unique experiences as DayZ. It's a very hard sandbox to make, and we want to keep it the way the vision has expanded over the years, and we keep the freedom of the player. We want to keep the choices. We want to just make the game. Yeah, as I said before, blood pumping. It needs to keep the pressure up.
The player interactions and even how we just, you know, interact with the environment itself, being the infected, it is all based on experiencing the actual emotions of survivalism and fighting for survival in DayZ. Be it against other players or with your friends, actually experiencing those friendly moments that actually also happen in DayZ. So all these stories in the game, they are important for both the platforms.
Yeah, very, very important. It's just, like, from my own experience, like, I haven't been playing 0.62 for a lot in the past couple months because I've been focusing on our release and the 0.63 mostly, and as soon as you guys have been posting on Reddit and Twitter about the play tests that we have been doing, and just like seeing that server fill up and close down, fill up and close down, like, I have been having fun, and I cannot say that I have been having fun for the last couple of years. Yeah, it's just, the game makes me laugh and be happy and angry, and it's in a good way. It's just, it's definitely a better experience.
Yeah. It's not because something frustrates you in the game. You are frustrated with yourself that you've made a stupid decision to do something that got you injured or
there are
killed.
Team members that can play the game a lot better than I can, like a lot better. But I don't think that's that big of a problem, because even dying just makes me want to play more. Yeah.
And that's when DayZ works. You don't die because something not very clever happened to you in the game. You died because you've made the wrong decision, or you've made the wrong step, or things like this. So it is really much more in your control, and you control the experience in the new DayZ.
It's just exciting. I want to play.
Yeah. All right, let's take a look at some of the more stuff. Do you have any specific thing you still want to mention, Eugene?
I can't think of anything right now. I've been watching the chat. Maybe there are some more questions that we can answer.
Yep. Looking through those. Again, very specific question regarding to 0.63 experimental. As we've been releasing the checklists, one of the things that we said will not be in the initial experimental release is scopes on weapons. Why is that?
For like a quick explanation would be, I've said it a little bit before, there is a system called hierarchy between like items in game or within like certain entities, objects. And we've been working on implementing something into the new engine that will help us enable some of the advanced features for the scopes and base building. It's all connected. It's a technology that we'll be deploying hopefully very soon. But the thing is that it might take a lot of iterations to get that right, and we don't want to compromise like releasing and stress testing the game first. So we could definitely like postpone the game more and like release it later and have all these things in.
But the playtesters have been kind of telling us that despite some parts of the game still missing, it's already fun enough that we can put it out there for stress tests and have people have a go at it.
I know like some people might be attached to certain things that will be missing from the first experimental, but understand that like even the experimental period is not going to be like insane like years. No, it's like experimental, update, and then we're going to have stable, and you'll have the features that you want. It's just the quick iteration on the new technology should enable us to do just that. And I know optics are important because it's like the long-range gameplay for DayZ is one of the things that people are always excited about, and it's definitely a thing that we're working on right now. Even like I know Peter has been looking into scopes today. Even he has been trying them out. We just want to have them working and having them smooth and just like interesting. So unless we're sure, a lot of the things that you are looking for in the game are even playable right now on internal build or in some form or fashion, but they are either broken or we're not satisfied with them. There's still a lot of tweaking to do, but to make sure that we can enable lots of players, lots of zombies, we're just gonna focus on getting the stress tests out and keep the features churning in. It's just like the best way to do it, probably.
We've touched upon this topic a little bit previously, but I still see some questions about that in the chat. The overall server performance, the network performance, the so-called desync that you experience in the game. How is it even now in the first experimental playtests, and what are our goals? How do we want the game to feel compared to 0.62 in this regard?
So you have to understand that in the old technology, we didn't have a lot of control about a lot of things that we want to just make better. So I know there have been some remarks even in the chat, like just like you should polish 0.62 and make it better, just like release it before or whatever. It's just the thing is that what you want from the game couldn't be done on that technology.
Yes.
And desync and fixing the things that were just like part of that problem happening weren't fixable in any real sense. So the only way to go forward was to like rewrite a lot of the technology that we had. And the goal there is definitely like, I know we spoke about the number 100 of players and like hopefully hundreds, thousands of zombies. But we need to scale up. Like we're going to be careful about what we put in game because we don't want to expose you to too much trouble.
Baby steps.
But currently in game, what's playable right now with players, as I said, like the server FPS has been fluctuating between 300 and 400. We're going to use that performance for zombies, for additional features. With players, it's amazing. Like I think it works right now very well. With zombies, there's obviously a bug that we need to find why they behave the way they do, because all the things that we are looking at as far as data goes seems all right. Yeah, we're going to find that, fix that, and see what we can do about the zombies to make them more smooth, more entertaining. I know we've been talking about the design with Peter on the zombies, and some of the things that we will be seeing are very exciting. But as I said, like we've been careful before in the last year and a half from when it comes to dates or features, and we're going to keep it that way until we're sure that things are in the right place.
Yep.
We'd rather show you than talk about it. And that's something that we want to emphasize. Like, play first, talk later.
Absolutely. Now, this is more of a question for Peter, maybe, but a lot of people in the chat actually asked that, so let's give it a go. It's very obvious that we've changed the item, the number of slots that items take in backpacks now. Is this something to still be balanced, looked over?
Yeah, definitely. Like all the numbers have been made to make the development possible. So you have to understand, guys, like all of the things that we are fixing most of the time are things that are blocking us. They're not making the gameplay better. It's just like, how do you enable the development to be faster? That's just like the way we think most of the time. Like, if you would play the game, you would think like, this is broken, and this is broken. And the same thing goes to balancing. Like we do things in a default way so that we can work with that.
Yep.
Anything that basically affects the gameplay afterwards, we're going to go through that. There are lots of tweaks, lots of passes that we need to go through, lots of players that we need to tweak. And the same thing goes for anything in the game almost, because like this is the first iteration on a new engine. It's very important to understand it. First iteration on a new engine. It's tons of changes. Like we wrote like, I don't want to say like something stupid, but there's definitely tens of thousands lines of new script, hundreds of thousands lines of new code. It's just insane, the amount of undertaking.
I think we didn't mention this enough today, but the entire technology change, basically all the features and all the settings for these features and how the systems work in script, everything has been rewritten into completely new scripting language that is getting rid of the ARMA legacy, basically, the RV engine technology. So this in itself, with the new animation system, we know that in our first goals, there's...
And actually, like, that's a very good point, because I think even the question that you asked about desync and the synchronization in the game, all of these things affect that, like how we do script, how we make sure everything is secure, like you cannot cheat in the game, how the damage system works, like how fast is the script, how fast is the animation system, how many animations we can handle. All these things have to be transferred between the clients and the server. All of those affect the synchronization issues that you have been seeing in the game in the live version that is live right now. So all these things had like smaller and bigger problems. It's just the thing that we focused on, and all those things are just interconnected. It's a large sandbox.
Yep.
A lot of things just, you break something here and 10 things break right there. It's insane. But there is light at the end of the tunnel, and we're going to reach it.
Right. I think we're running over time, but I think we still have like 10 minutes of time that we can dedicate to answering the questions, because there's still a lot of activity going on in the chat. So
there's some nice PvP going on.
Yeah, also. So maybe one of the topics that is a little bit closer to you, Eugene, is with all the backend changes in the engine and the technology running behind DayZ, how are we going to approach cheaters and hackers in the game? Yeah.
So, like, about a year ago, maybe a year and a half, I've been sitting down brainstorming in this room with the team leads and everybody, and just like I was writing down like a large tree of things that should be in game, and we're trying to make sure that we don't forget anything, that all of the promises will be kept and will get in the game. And I wrote a list of like things that you guys have been complaining about all the time, and we know those things are a problem. Like, we want to fix them. That's why we did the whole technology change. And security was definitely one of them. I know that the damage system in the old game was mostly client-side, and almost we couldn't like do anything about it. Like, there's no way we can keep tweaking it that you won't see like explosions in game, like you've been seeing cheats and hackers like damaging you from afar or seeing things. As I said, all these things are interconnected, and security is embedded in all the technology that we created, from animation system to script. Everything is server-side. We want to keep it that way, and we want to keep the performance high, so we can enable tons of players, tons of zombies, without cheating, preferably. And we're going to be keeping an eye on that very closely. We're going to be having a security review on the game, hopefully soon, to check everything is all right and we're not missing anything. And yeah, I'm just excited about all these things.
Okay. Going more through some of the... Oh my god, there is so many questions. What do we pick? All right. We don't have anybody from the audio team here, but let's check up a little bit on the progress that we're making in this part of the game, because obviously it is a very important part of the gameplay experience.
So the audio is composed of two parts. One thing is that we're implementing like sound controllers, which are things that basically enable us to do lots of different sound effects, from like making sure that indoor you're hearing different sounds, like echoes are right, like you'll be seeing, hearing the sounds of the environment, the zombies, and it will actually have a gameplay impact. So you'll see zombies shouting, and they will be interacting another zombie, or like groups of zombies. You'll be doing things that are just like loud. We will be telegraphing those in game. You'll be hearing them. They will be affecting both the players and the zombies, and all these things just should have a proper. Sorry, I'm just like distracted by the by the PvP there. Basically, all these things need to get interconnected properly, and so far we're mostly focusing on the gameplay part. Yep. Because like we want to push the audio quality further than what we have right now, but gameplay comes first. So we're gonna focus on all the things that make sure that these interactions work before we start tweaking the sounds. So we're focusing on the sound technology, making sure that we have all the tools available. And after that, we're going to do a pass on the audio and just get all of the new sounds in the proper way. But yeah, gameplay first. It needs to work.
But already in experimental compared to 0.62, people will be able to hear some of the first teasers of what's going to come with the new audio?
Yeah, that's actually the right point. So when it comes to new audio, things that don't affect gameplay in a certain way are mostly like ambient sounds and like environment sounds, and some of the controls that change some of the values. So you'll have better idea where the sound is coming from or why it is affected in this way. So these things are getting in right now because they don't like mix up with the gameplay part. And I know Philip is working hard on a lot of the new implementation before experimental comes out. And one of the things, ambient sounds, like gun sounds are in. Ambient should be in right now as well. He's working on both C and like some of the more surprising things that you'll see in the future. I'm gonna keep some of them under the hood, but
If you've seen some of our recent status report clips, already when you enter a building in 0.63, the sound already changes there, so it's not like constantly the same audio setup. When it's raining, you can the impacts of the rain on different types of surfaces are changing. So you know, these are little things, really, but when you hear them in the game, it just adds up so much more to the overall feeling.
It's one of the things that we've been seeing in the last couple of months and changes that we've been doing, like the atmosphere in DayZ is something that will be changing. Like I know Adam has made many changes to lightning, to fog, and he's tweaking things around just to make sure the atmosphere in the game and it's just on point. And the same things go for audio. Whatever it is, zombie sounds, player sounds, gunshots, like gunshots from afar, the environment, the animals. We want to make sure that the audio works for you and you know what's happening around you, and you can actually use that to your advantage.
All right. We keep getting questions about overall performance. So let's maybe repeat the client-side performance status of things in 0.63.
So just to reiterate, client-side performance is better than it was in 0.62, and that's already saying something because it has been improved by a long shot. And that's the thing. Like we can push the performance further. We can get more FPS and more FPS and more FPS. But that's not the only thing that we can get out of that. Like more performance also means we can use the performance for more visual fidelity. So there is a balance to it. But the game already runs better than it had after the new render release. I think if you can run that game on like 6-year-old hardware, which you can right now, I think the game runs well. I don't know, like, what more to say about it. Like, it basically runs on almost anything. And it's very much scalable. So just like you can increase it and have the visual fidelity that you're seeing on the stream right now, or you can just like get low and play it on old hardware. Like, I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem.
If you haven't been playing DayZ for, let's say, past couple of years, you've maybe played the game before 0.60 update. You have absolutely no idea how well DayZ runs right now. It's connected with our, obviously, being able to push the performance of the PC that far is obviously, that's one of the things that allowed us to also explore other platforms, and combined with the server performance improvements and the animation system changes, it just makes up for a much smoother game in general.
Yeah, so one of the things that I wanna mention when it comes to that performance is that it just scales very well up. I think I've played it even on 660, like an old. That's maybe 6 years or something. It's just, I really don't think it's gonna be an issue down the road. Like, performance is just on point, and it runs well on consoles, which are
that says everything.
like a good sample to see, like, if your game runs on consoles, you're in a good place, because like we can scale up, scale down. We can get more from the new Xbox. We can get more from the new PS4. We can get more visual fidelity from higher-end PC. But we can also like get it down and keep it running on older hardware. It's just fine.
Right. Couple of last questions. First one is a bit tricky. Obviously, Battle Royale games do very, very well these days. And we have a thing called Survivor games.
Yes.
What do we do with that?
I'm not sure how much I can say. So, like, I know you've seen like the mod from Adam Namalsk that hopefully you'll be seeing after the modding on DayZ starts. But there are a couple more surprises that we wanna keep for you for the release itself, and one of them is definitely Survivor games. Will be interesting to see how the whole BR genre works for DayZ.
By the way, just to be very clear, that's BR as in Battle Royale, not VR as in virtual reality. Just to be very clear about this. But so there's Survivor games. We don't want to talk about it, but the important thing stays, and that is that DayZ is a survival game in its core. And the basic gameplay loop of player interaction, not just being the last survivor on the server, that's going to be the key thing in DayZ. So yes, sure, Battle Royale games are popular, but that's not what makes DayZ the game it is.
Yeah, that's I think like the things that we have been focusing on from survival and the freedom of the player and like the persistent gameplay that you'll be seeing in the future. Like we want to see players spawning the game. I don't want to choose a role, just like focus on your story, like find things, find friends, like fight enemies, try to get interesting items, try to build a base, try to get a vehicle, maybe even a helicopter down in the future. Like all these things we want to see from the low-end gameplay to the high-end gameplay that we're seeing after hours upon hours, or even like the initial stuff that happens on the coast or in the first cities, the first encounters that you'll have with all the players, the discussions, the friends that you'll make. It's a very special game in so many ways. And I remember 2-3 years ago with Peter, we even attended a wedding of like 2 players who actually met on DayZ. So nice. I do believe there is something special in this game when it comes to just like meeting people around from all over the world.
It literally creates friendships in real life.
Yeah, and some of these people have been together for years and have been either playing DayZ or different games, and I seriously hope I'll be seeing the players come back to the game just because it's going to be a good one.
And don't kill on-site people. Just interact and talk to people. That's where DayZ really shines.
Although the combat is fun.
Yeah, true. Especially with the new animation system.
Yeah.
All right, Eugen, the hardest question of them all for the end of our live stream.
Already sounds bad.
How far are we from releasing the 0.63 on experimental? As we said, we're not talking dates, but give us a little tease. Everybody's waiting, Eugen.
I know everybody's waiting.
One thing, we never... So, before the actual live stream, some people were thinking and tweeting and posting on Reddit like, the last live stream we did was on 0.62, and on that day, literally, we released the 0.62 to stable.
I remember there was discussion whether we should release it on 1st of April.
Yeah.
Like just like call it DayZ and release it on 2nd of April, just like we missed 1st April. Nice. Sorry, guys. It's just like we make fun of it ourselves. Like we know we're way behind, but we're gonna have a good game that have been taking care of for a long time, and that we're hopefully proud of. When it comes to the release date, we're going to push it out for a stress test soon, and we're talking not months, we're talking weeks. I'm going to be careful about the exact dates.
Yes.
But that there's certainly data and things that we want to see coming to us and feedback from the first iteration. And we're going to be careful before we put it live for like a longer time. So you might be seeing like experimental update in the near future for like a quick play.
Servers are going to be up for a couple of hours to stress test them, and
And hopefully you're going to like the experience for the limited time that it's going to be available. We're going to be announcing it before, so you can prepare. At least we can stress test properly, because if thousands of people are coming in, we're going to be seeing the the problems that we can't really test right now. And once we're sure that the stability is up there, that the client is not crashing, that the servers are not crashing, that we can handle the players and thousands of them, hopefully, I think we're just gonna keep it live after that. But we want to keep everything in this year. So we're weeks away from experimental, and we're gonna keep working on that experimental, scaling it up, getting the features in, and get stable out for you guys to play. Like that's our goal.
All right. In the meantime, we are going to be going to a couple of events probably before that happens. Right on this Sunday, actually, we're going to San Francisco. We're going to be showing DayZ to a couple of people, and right after that, we will also be going to PAX East. So if anybody wants to show up on PAX East, wants to give us a visit, we'll make sure to notify you ahead on our social media channels, and you can actually meet me and Buddy in Boston in a couple of weeks. So we will be doing our best to keep you guys informed about the progress that we made before any of these releases happen. Evaluating after today, we will also be deciding what we do with live streaming next, because I think it's kind of fun stuff to do. So we'll see about that. And generally, we will just want to keep you, informed on all of our channels.
It's always a bit stressful when it comes to streaming. Like, we've spent at least 2 days. If I discount the game and the things that we need to do for the game to make sure it's streamable in some form or sense, to get the most blockers out of the way, so we can show the stuff that we have been working on. Because like in isolated time frames and isolated development, you can test these things out. But when you launch the whole sandbox, these things just need to interact properly. So all these things we need to iron out, and once we do, we're just gonna get the stresses out for you guys to play. And we're gonna get the feedback, get the ball rolling, and just get the game out.
All right, I think that about wraps up our today's live stream. Buddy, thanks again for playing with us today. Bam, Eugene, thanks for coming to the live stream. The VOD of the live stream will be available on YouTube. We're gonna make it happen as soon as possible. And obviously you can find us at dayz.com, Twitter /DayZDevTeam, and basically all the social networks have the same handle, DayZDevTeam. So keep following us, read the status reports, they're good, they're seriously good for you, read them. We're gonna try to ramp them up with some visuals because the game is getting in a better shape. We could stream it today, so it should hopefully be much better. So we're gonna be posting keep you updated with some more content for the status reports. And any closing words, Eugene?
More play, less talk. Like, I think that's the most important thing for us.
All right, let's wrap it up. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for coming to the live stream. Thanks for hanging out in the chat. Thanks to our awesome community team in the chat actually answering questions. Shout outs to Matej and Dana for taking care of the chat, and also our community moderators. Thanks, everybody on the team. Philip, thanks a lot for organizing the live stream. See you guys in the next one or in the status report. Bye.
Позволю себе подвести некий итог, коль я смотрел его от начала и до конца. Итак, по порядку. Ну что? Ну, во-первых, спасибо команде Bohemia, то, что дали какую-то инфу, показали наглядно, показали в прямом эфире. То есть это приятно. Спасибо Мартин, Юджин, Питер, Бетти и команда. То есть присоединяюсь к этому всему, к чату. Вот так, что увидели? Увидели новую анимацию персонажа. Причем анимация рэгдолла, то есть падение при критическом уроне, мне очень понравилось. Ну вот, в принципе, до этого мы тоже ее видели в отчетах, но сейчас, грубо говоря, был прямой эфир геймплей. Также камера, вид от первого лица, тоже вроде как он стал лучше, вроде как. Может быть, я ошибаюсь. Я, конечно, не все, далеко не все понимал из быстрой английской речи, поэтому то, о чем они говорили, и то, что я понял, я как-то сейчас не буду подчеркивать и делать какие-то выводы. Подожду официальных переводов от русского комьюнити, может быть, субтитры появятся, а потом уже будем разбирать то, что они нам наговорили. Но в целом общая картина понятна. То есть я так понял, на эксперименталке 0.63 патч выйдет в апреле месяце, Юджин обозначил. Ну вот. Окончательной релизной даты я вроде как не услышал. Также некоторые моменты, конечно, испугали и взволновали. То есть вот эти вот лаги. Это был лан-сервак, то есть без зомби. Зомби нам не показали, значит, я так понимаю, все не так уж хорошо с ними. И от них, наверное, очень сильно лагает. Поэтому зомби нам не показали, так же, как и машины. Ну, вот. Но все равно у них лагало. У них лагало на берегу, в Камышово. Ну, вот. Это как бы печально. Печально. Ну, вот. Потом вот эта непонятная стрельба полчаса по курице. Я вообще не понял, проходил урон или нет. То есть багов полно. Не хочется, конечно, получать 0.6.3 забагованный. Не хочется вообще получать DayZ забагованный. Ну, все мы ждем комфортной игры в первую очередь. Но также все мои фанаты, как и я, поэтому мы ждали. Не надо себя обманывать. И будем ждать как следующих патчей, беты, так и самого релиза. Ну, все, кто посмотрит мое это видео, не гневайтесь на меня. Я не пытался украсть контент у конкретно разработчиков, конкретно их стрим Twitch. Я сделал это по просьбе вас, подписчиков, участников сообщества Русская Дружба, игроков, выживших нашего сервера Русская Дружба. Потому что многие не смогут посмотреть по причине занятости. Но вот на Твиче не всегда, как я знаю, сохраняются полные трансляции. И может быть они вообще удалят ее или сделают краткую нарезку. На ютубе, как я увидел, трансляции не было. Поэтому я записал все от начала до конца. Правда, со своей рожей в нижнем левом углу экрана. Ну, как бы, чтобы хоть как-то показать свою реакцию на происходящее. То есть то, что я сам от начала и до конца стрима просидел, прослушал, ознакомился. Ну, вот. Думаю, что я сделал это не зря. И та информация, которую вы получите из этого видео, будет вам полезна и интересна. Так что, ребят, приходите в сообщество, подписывайтесь, ставьте лайки, комментируйте, ну и играйте в DayZ, выживайте. Всем удачи, всем пока.